So very first picture here, this is the drive from our airport into the town of Seguatepeque. Very, very hilly drive. You know, if you've driven through Gatlinburg, this is even hillier than that. Very mountainous terrain.
But a whole lot less trees and greenage down there because it's dry season when in February in Honduras.
All right, so this first picture here, this is the house site. You can see that little bit of flat area over there. That's where we're going to put the structure. And Keith, he's one of the elders at the Various Chapel Church of Christ. He's speaking with Alma and Dominique. They are the family that we'll be building for. They have 6 kids and a bunch more neighbor kids that would show up throughout the week. We'll have a lot of pictures of them as we go.
All right, the house that you're seeing the edge of, they had a fire in the house earlier the year before or
Yeah, within the past year sometime.
And so what's left of the house, it's an adobe structure, and I'm not sure what burned unless it was just the roof of it because it's all made of mud bricks. But what is left is just 2 rooms, and one of the rooms is just open. Her kitchen is just open to the outside. So the family was sleeping in one room that's maybe 12 by 12, maybe not even that big. And
that would fill roomy.
And there was how many?
They've got 6 kids.
6 kids.
Plus the 2 parents.
And 2 parents in a little 12 by 12, probably not even quite that big in that.
And you can kind of see they have a curtain hung over the doorway to the bedroom is about all they've got. We don't have any concrete trucks showing up for us. We have to mix all the concrete ourselves. So you can see there we have, this year we lucked out and we had a little bit of a slab from the old structure. So we were able to do our concrete mixing without getting a bunch of dirt mixed into it. So that was helpful. The lumber is not straight, so we do our best to find the straightest ones we can. It's also very wet, so as you're hammering, sometimes you get splattered in the face because this is some freshly treated lumber.
I think it had just been sawed like the week before we got there out of the trees.
Again, all the digging is manual work, so end of the week we come home tired, but very, very fulfilled. This right here is Dominique. This guy is not a tall guy. He stands about yay tall, but he has a huge heart and is one of the best workers that I've seen. He was, any chance he had, he was there, moving around, did not speak a lick of English, but again, you don't have to speak the language to jump in and help and to move things and to dig holes and to help out however he could. He didn't help most of the week because as we were driving up the hill to his house, we saw him waiting for his ride to go to his own job. But over the weekend, he was there helping out whenever he could. I'm going to have a bunch of random pictures of kids and animals. This is one of the neighbor's kids. She had her dog, and the dog was totally content. This is the end of the first day, if you want to give a...
So the house is pretty much what we would use as a storage building. It's wood frame and no insulation. We put a metal roof on it, and there's the foundation going down with posts in the ground, poured concrete around the posts. And we used to put them up on the 4x4 posts all the way to the roof, but we found it's easier to put a wooden floor down than pouring concrete now because many of the sites are on hillsides, and it was tough to find enough level places to put a concrete floor down. So we found it much easier to frame up a wooden floor, and that's what's about to happen there.
Again, our tools were constantly getting borrowed. What you don't see in this picture, they had built a ramp out of wooden scraps, and they were heading toward it pretty quick. Some more of the neighbors, so this was not the kids in the family we were building for, but again, there's a bunch of houses, very tight-knit communities. There were kids there all the time. Absolutely. No caption required for that picture. Her name is Ellen Joanne. She's the youngest of the family we were building for. Absolutely adorable little girl. And after a hard day at work, gotta hit the ice cream shop. We joked that we probably helped them hit their yearly goals right there in February. With this many these American guys in there looking for ice cream.
There was one night it seemed like the whole crew had went down to the ice cream store, so the line was out the door and down the sidewalk. And people would walk up, and then they would turn around and go back.
Sorry, guys, it's not worth the wait. A lot of times we would let them go first. This is a really cool picture because the little girl beside me here, her name is Yesenia. 2 years ago, we built a house for her family. So this was Sunday morning there at the church, and she comes running up, and we get a picture together. And later on, I have a picture of her mom and sister that were there too. More kids at the church. They have a fenced-in church area because basically everything in Honduras is fenced in with razor wire on top. But they have the auditorium. They have about 3 different classrooms. They have a kitchen pavilion area, a workshop. So this area is starting to grow up a lot as they're working in the community.
And you may think it looks like a prison, but that's just necessary down there because people will pack off whatever they can get their hands on because they're so poor. I mean, if there's something of value laying there, it's not going to stay there very long. So the church is required to put fencing like that around that to be able to keep it.
Mm-hmm. But the gates swing wide open every Sunday and Wednesday. You can see here's the view looking into the church building from the door, and then there's the preacher standing up there in the front. So they will fill up a good chunk of this auditorium, especially when we're there. I think they put a few extra chairs out because it's an encouraging day for both us and them. We tend to do a service in both English and Spanish for the singing. So they'll have some Spanish singing, and actually I had the opportunity this year to do some song leading on the English side. This was Sunday afternoon, getting the walls set up, standard stud wall. Everybody pitches in, and it goes up pretty quick. Yeah, more pictures of kids. I asked her how tall she could make it, so she's working on a challenge right there. That's about as high as it got before it toppled. But any scraps, if they're less than about a foot long, they are gone. They will be in some kid's build somewhere, but they don't stick around under your saw table.
That wasn't last year, but one of the years I had cut a bunch of pieces that were going to be blocking for the roof rafters, and I had a big stack, and I had it cut, and 5 minutes later, the whole stack was gone. I felt like
that's when you have to go and barter with the kids. Be like, this piece of wood is better than that piece of wood. And then, okay, swap. We do wood siding, so this is the siding going up. Our crew had around 13 to 15 guys on it, so we've got some people working on rafters. We have some people going around putting the siding on the walls. And at this point, everybody pretty well knows where they need to be and what needs to be done. So it comes together really quick once everybody hits the ground. She was doing laundry. She's got a barbed wire fence down, and she was hanging laundry over. She probably thought I was crazy asking for a picture, but she graciously agreed.
This was the neighbor's kids that was in the house right behind us where we were working, and I looked over there and she was washing in it, and the little boy was doing something. I can't remember what, but he was. They do their chores and they pull their weight in part of the family.
And even though the roads are dusty, they typically are wearing clean clothes, and now by the end of the day, the kids are covered in dirt because they've been playing so hard. But they do take pride in their making sure things stay clean.
Yep, they're very careful about that. I was impressed with how clean. The houses are made of mud and dirt, but they live very clean lives.
And they'll be in there sweeping their dirt floor. That's the cleanest dirt you've ever seen. This is where some of our scraps went. You can see the 2 older brothers there. They got a hold of some scraps, and they made Ellen Yuan a little desk. And she is all set up there, and they found some nails and hammered that thing together. And it was sturdy. I wouldn't sit on it, but it's good for a 2-year-old. They got a hold of some sunglasses. We had a photo shoot. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is the mom. Her name is Alma, holding Ellen Yuan. She's kind of looking over towards where the house is getting built. The kids running around doing everything. You can see behind her, that's her kitchen. It's a little fire pit with a chimney stove coming out the top. You can kind of barely see right there the stove coming up. And that's where she did pretty much all of her cooking. Just dirt walls. You got to watch out with this group of guys. There's going to be hammers swinging everywhere. I said, guys, pose for a picture, and this is what I got. Again, there's kids all over the place. They're so happy to see you. We have a big old time. The walls are coming together. You can see that lap siding. I love the picture, but this is just kind of how you can see how the progress is coming along. It's all wood. The wood's really wet, so we have to pull it super tight. Otherwise, you'll get cracks in it because it'll dry up and shrink a bit. More neighbor kids on the other side of the fence, and some of these are the same neighbor kids we saw because again, they're all sides of the house.
And they get along so well. The kids, they'll all just come together and they'll play and they'll help each other. I've never seen any of the kids fighting. Of course, if they did, I wouldn't know what the words would have been if they did. But they seem like just a really close knit. Mm-hmm. Even just the neighbors are like family.
This answers the question: how many gringos can you fit in the back of a truck bed? That poor truck was sitting low. But they put their this is one of the other crews, they put their entire crew in the back of the truck and headed back to the hotel. Didn't wait for the van to come around. Mm-hmm. This is some of the food that we have in the hotel in the evenings. So there's always going to be rice and beans, typically some kind of meat, and some tortillas. It's actually really good. They take very good care of us there. The ladies are good cooks. We've seen some of the same group of ladies will come back, and the hotel will hire them to take care of us for breakfast and dinner each time we're down there. And a lot of the guys started eating way more breakfast when they learned how to make pancakes.
And when Scott was talking about going to the cupboard and deciding what you want to eat, most of the people in the village, it's rice and beans. That's basically what they have most all the time, except for the chickens that run around all over their yard. They have eggs and chicken, but most of their meals are rice and beans.
Mm-hmm. And this is what they fed us is way more than most of the folks in that village are getting to eat. This is the inside of the house we were working on. Before the roof went on, you can see we got the walls up, have the door over there. We did a door in a 45 this year, which was Dad's idea, because it lets them go out to the front or over to the kitchen area. So she's got that option to where her previous house is still very accessible, because even with the house we built here, we usually would give them a little electric plate. They're typically still cooking on their wood stove. So we wanted to make sure that they still have access to that.
That's what they've been doing all their life, and it's hard to convert someone over to electricity when they've been cooking over a fire. It's just their way of life. And sometimes the
electricity takes 4 months to get hooked up because the government doesn't move fast on it.
And
you think it's slow here.
That's something that they have to pay for, and then here they can go to the woods and find sticks and build a little fire and create the heat for their cooking.
That is the window and door whisperer. That's his legendary name down there. They will send over scouts from other job sites to see how he's building his windows and doors. And they'll steal the ideas and run back and do them in their houses too. Again, more of the kids from the area. They love the beard because there's not many beards down there. So you can see she's got a tight hold right there. Very rarely does it rain in the dry season. We had a downpour of about 30 minutes, so we all had to hunker up in Alma's kitchen there and keep from getting poured on.
We hadn't got the metal on the roof yet. Some of the other sites had put their roofs on. They already had a place to get, but we didn't have our roof on yet.
They had some of the nicest concrete down there. Had a professional done porch out there, so we had a little extra of the concrete. So we poured a front step for them and got it all smoothed out. That's what the house looks like with the roof on it. Not quite cleaned up yet, but you can see they're installing the electric meter. And they're going to run some basic wires. Each room is going to have a light. The front porch will have a light, a few outlets. So there's about 2 breakers for the whole house. Is about all it needs.
All the little wood was covered to the concrete because there's so many dogs around there. And when we went to lunch, we said, I know what's going to happen when we go back, and there's going to be dog prints all across my concrete. So I tried to cover it to keep the animals out of the concrete.
One of them was going to step in it. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure one of them did, but we caught it early enough. This is one of the kids, and they're in the local church. We were loading some of our stuff back in. You got to find a good use for those wheelbarrows. I said, this guy must have worked on a road crew in the past somewhere. This is Miguel, and he's helped us out several times. Is a big jokester. He's in his early 20s. Again, not much English at all. But again, you don't have to have English to pick on, carry on, and mess with each other. So they were back and forth the whole week, him and Caleb.
Over the last 5 years, I think he has come and helped on just about every one of the job sites that I've been working on. One day at least, he's come and worked with us.
He'll show up on his motorcycle and he'll be there all day. Now he has a regular job as well. He works typically delivery drivers, and he'll set up either chicken deliveries or snack deliveries around town, just anything that they can get. This is the teen class on Wednesday night. So this is one of the classrooms that was built, 7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah.
So they come together, they have their teacher, they do some singing there as a group. This was Yesenia, again, the girl we built her family's house 2 years ago. This is her mom, Erica, and little sister, Eunice. In English, we probably say Eunice, but Eunice is how they pronounce it. I always say that whenever we go back to visit their house, it is what I would call one of the best taken care of houses. Everything is neat, orderly, in its place. They take a lot of pride in that house. Make a lot of friends down there. This was on the presentation day. So Thursday we say best day of the week because that's the day that we go around and we present the houses to the families. It's also a chance for us to inspect each other's work. So make sure we all did it right. So that's one of the attics. They had built a loft in it.
And that young man was the youngest in our group. I think he was just 13.
12 or 13, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and he was the grandson of Steve Meeks. He's an elder at various chapels. So
this is the house that we built this time around. And actually, this was a house from 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. So this was a secondary family. They had all been living in the one house, and this was a chance for us to get I think the parents and 2 of the kids into their own house. So the grandparents were living on this side over here. Which what they had done is really interesting to see because this is the house that we had built right here, and they have taken out and they have expanded a large front patio. They're actually running a smaller restaurant there in front of their house, a restaurant and a pulperia, or a little convenience store. So there's the groups. You can see the families there in the center with a bunch of the guys around it. Again, everybody, we will go in, we'll say a prayer, do a little dedication, sing a song in Spanish with each family. Make sure they know this is not a gift from the Americans, it's a gift from God. And we make sure to emphasize it's not coming from us. This is the family that was going to be living in that house. And this is for Ada, so there's a chicken. I told you I didn't have a duck this year, I had a chicken this year. This is one of the other houses. This is where a young couple is going to be living. His name is Adelaide, and I cannot remember his wife's name, but he's early 20s. They've recently married. And this right here is the house. Again, same idea, same basic look. We move around windows and porches and stuff, but your same look is the same. It's about $10,000 to build one of these houses and materials and to get everything down there, permits and everything put together. But it's got $1 million view on it. This is up on the side of the hill. So as you look out their back door, that's the view you're going to see. And you can actually see all these trees chopped out here. So as Adelaide saw where the house was going to be, he's out there with a machete hacking down the branches to give him a view. This was the crew for that house. This is one of those, again, if you tried to pour a concrete slab for it, you would be there digging for days because this is on a very strong hill. And this is Adelaide and his wife, and then another one of the family members. I'm not sure if she's going to be living in the house. I think she lives next door, but they're going to have a younger kid that's going to be living in their house just for the extra space. So basically nobody lives alone. And this is our house. You can see there I am in that section, and Dad is over Dad's over here on the side. Yeah, right there. So it's her and her kids, and everybody has ice cream because the ice cream truck rolled by. And the kids are like, hey, this is our chance. If we're going to get ice cream at any point, we're going to get it while there's a bunch of, So Dan's over there buying them ice cream. This is inside doing prayers and dedication. There's very rarely a dry eye in the whole house. And this was Van, and he built him a little cabinet and came in there and stocked it up for him with some food. So there's a little door. We had a few extra hinges. So he's like, hey, we can put a few shelves in between these studs. Got a little storage area. Yeah, more kiddos. This girl was loving dedication day. She was running around giving everybody fist bumps. She'd run up to you and be like, this is the bedroom. You can see some of the furniture we get. This one's a little bit more furniture than some of them because this is the house that had the 6 kids in it. So we got them 2 sets of bunk beds plus the parent bed.
So they're going to have to double up even on the bunk beds.
Yeah, there's going to be some kids doubling up beds even with that. But we tried to give them at least as much as we could fit in that room. And at that point, they already had their beds picked out. I'm like, which one's yours? He's like, that one right there. Had the top bunk. This was the house as we were getting ready to drive off. You can see the mom and kids out front. And then I am sure next year we come down here, there will be some sort of metal covering that kind of connects these 2 buildings because they're going to make the use of whatever space they can and what they have. So they'll make it their own once we leave. This was the next house we did. And a bunch of guys out there, and then the lady that we built it for. We do the prayer circles. We'll go in there. We'll pray with the family, pray over one another. So again, Thursday's always the best day. Some really pretty flowers. That's for Edie, you know. These are actually dangling down, so they decorate. There's a lot of growth and a lot of beauty down there. Those are her flowers. This is Jasmine, and it's her and her husband that are a big reason why the church is in Potrillos. And then finally, there's our crazy group of guys. There was about 60 of us this trip. They had us put up any and everywhere. A lot of good stuff happened, but it was all God working through us.
So, is there any questions? Anybody have any? Yes, they have a big termite problem. If it wasn't for building the houses out of treated lumber, they wouldn't last but a few years. When they built the church building, of course, the wood was treated, but they had gotten plywood and made the little plywood truss plates out of plywood. And a couple years later, the termites had already started eating into the plywood because it wasn't treated. And now they're having to spray around the church building all the time for the termites to keep it maintained.
Our building style tends to be a bit different than theirs because most of their houses are going to be built with concrete, so they'll do concrete blocks or bricks and cover it up, more of a stucco style, or they'll be using the adobe. Basically, the reason we use wood is because that's what all the workers are more comfortable with. We're like, hey, this is what we know how to do. We can put it together pretty quickly because we're not waiting for concrete to dry or whatnot. Because a lot of times, I've gone down there and I've seen houses under construction. Come back the next year, they're still under construction. So their build process tends to take a lot longer. This lets us come together and do it really quick.
Because we were told from the very beginning, don't drink the water.
Unless you want to wind up at the hotel for a few days on rest.
We buy the bottled water and carry it with us. But there is water piped in. The village has, like a city water, there's a big water tank, and they have it distributed through the city in pipes that sometimes lay on top of the ground. Some of them are buried, but there is water there. They can drink it. People there can drink it, but we're told don't drink the water.
Is that you can drink it, but it's going to take you a few days to recover from it.
Our systems are not prepared for whatever the bacteria is in the water, of course.
If it's boiled, it's fine. A couple years ago, we were working, and it was Erica, the one that we had built her house and showed the picture of. She came out with a tray with a bunch of little coffee cups on it. And we're all like, can we drink coffee? But it was hot, it had been boiled, and it didn't have any issue. And I'm not going to turn down a cup of coffee from one of the ladies there in Honduras that doesn't have much at all anyway. That was her way of doing good. And I'm like, even if I get sick from this, I'm still going to drink her cup of coffee.
We were told that, what can we eat down there? They said, if you peel it, you can eat it, like an orange or something like that. It's fine to eat. But you don't want to eat lettuce and stuff that's not even if they wash it, it's washed in water that we can't drink. So we have to be careful.
So even if you're going to some of the chain restaurants, because they had a Burger King and a Wendy's and whatnot, but I'll tell them hold the lettuce. So I'm like,
Yeah.
So the breakfast and supper, again, the ladies there hired by the hotel, that was all covered. So they would make sure that was taken care of. There would be a spread for breakfast. They would have, pancakes and eggs and several different kinds of fruits. If you want a really, really good pineapple or banana, or that, you get it down there because it got a chance to ripen on on the plant instead of ripening on the way over the ocean. So very, very good fruit. They usually have some other things we don't usually eat, like the goat cheese, which is Scott's favorite. It's all buffet style now, though, so you just kind of pick and choose what you want. They take really, really good care of us. Yeah. So there's our last picture that was in the airport heading back. And I think this was, how many years for you? 13 years you've been down there?
I think, 13 trips for me.
I think this was my 6th. So, and if anyone wants to come back this next time around, we go every February. Mm-hmm. And even if you can't, we appreciate the prayers, any offering that can be made. We definitely put it to good work, and you can see how God's using that in the lives of the folks. Honestly, in the same time zone, because people ask me all the time, "What time is it in Honduras?" Same. We go straight south.
So the congregation that is there now, when 12 years ago there was no congregation, there was no building, and so we've seen God working in that area enormously. So the congregation now is probably 150 to 200.
If you count up all the kids because they do dinners on Wednesday night, and the kids know that they can come there, they'll get fed, they'll get a good lesson. So they come in from all over the place.
So when we first started seeing the growth, you've seen all the kids and the mothers. And I was very impressed the last time we were down there, we seen a lot of the men starting to get involved in the church. And that Sunday morning we were there, I noticed that about 8 or 9 of the men had gotten on the porch, and they all gathered together and they had a group prayer before the service that morning. So it's encouraging to see the men starting to take their place and step up and doing actively working into the church instead of just the ladies doing everything. And basically that's what it was when they started. The Wednesday night classes would come together. We seen all the mothers and the ladies feeding the children and doing the teaching the classes and all that, and you'd have about 50 kids all in that one little pavilion just running everywhere. So it's very encouraging to see the congregation growing and God working in that.
That's how you keep the congregation, is when you have the whole family there instead of just a couple of them showing up. So it is.
Sponsor the kids for school?
They do. So through Barry's Chapel, because they have their public schools, but you have to have supplies and a proper uniform to go to school. So every single kid down there that wants to go to school, and that their parents will actually tell them to go to school, the school is sponsoring to make sure that they're able to get an education. Now, if not all the parents are as education focused, so sometimes they may sponsor a kid and the parents don't make them go to school. So then that's where Oseman is there all year long. He has his house. The whole village knows Oseman because he'll drive them around. He'll get them to doctor's appointments. They also know he's the one that they need to go to. So anytime we were down there, if someone came up and asked us for something, be like, "Hey, can you do this for us?" You need to talk to Oseman because he's your local person. We're not the ones who are down here making the decisions. He's the one that's helping to distribute, and he's the local person that knows who all's down there.
The society is totally different down there. In the United States, everybody's got their own home and they're inside watching TV. Well, it's not like that down there. In that community, they're not inside their house watching TV. They're out talking to one another. Everybody knows everybody in the village. Everybody knows each other. All the kids know all the other kids. All the families know all the other families. So when something happens for one family, the whole community knows about it almost immediately. because they talk and they spread the word, and they're very social people. And it's not like that here. We've got communities now in the United States where people don't even know their next door neighbor, and they never even meet each other. And that's pretty sad. And that's why I think one of the reasons is the congregation, the church is growing down there, because they communicate to each other. When we come down and start building houses, everybody in the village knows that it was the Church of Christ coming down to help build houses and sponsor children for education and all these other things that the Lord is doing down there. And the word gets out and it spreads.
A couple of years ago, we were re-roofing a kindergarten that was having a bunch of leaks and whatnot, and we showed up and did the whole job in about a day. But we'd have folks from the community stopping by and coming in and want to talk for a little bit and just saying thank you for what you're doing. Because again, people see it and they notice it and they know where it's coming from.
Do you pass out Bibles? Do you take some with you and pass them out?
The year before last, we took a couple boxes.
We had a donation of about 50 Spanish Bibles.
So we took one of them and we had all the guys sign it that built the house, and we presented it to the house there. But in order to know who needs a Bible and who doesn't, we gave the rest of them to the church so they would know who to distribute them to. Yeah, so we have taken Bibles, not this past year, but the year before we did.
And as far as Bibles go, a lot of them do have some sort of phone. So, I mean, you can always pull it up on your phone. It's not like they're hurting for the word because it's there. It's obviously wonderful to have the personal Bible. But again, we want their resource to be the local church as opposed to, because there's a ton of excitement when we show up, but we don't want them to be only there because of that excitement. We want that to last all year. Any other questions before we wrap up? In Isaiah 6, I'm going to offer a quick invitation just to kind of wrap things up. In Isaiah 6, Isaiah he's fulfilling a prophecy, and he's standing there before all the host, and the word needs to be sent out, and Isaiah is devastated because there's no one to do it. God asked the question, who will go? Isaiah says these famous words in verse number 8, "Here am I, send me." The interesting thing is God's not demanding, God's not forcing, God's not compelling anyone to do anything. It says God simply asked, who will go? Who's willing to step outside their comfort zone? And it doesn't have to be a trip across the world. It doesn't have to be even leaving the community. We can still be sent wherever we are. Raising my hand and saying, "Here am I, send me," doesn't mean I'm going to travel anywhere. It just means that I'm willing to let God work through me, willing to let Him use me as a vessel to preach His word. And that's what our goal needs to be, is to allow God to work through us. So let those words ring out for the rest of your week. Look for that opportunity. Raise your hand, "Here am I, send me." That's what God would have us to do. So my challenge for you guys this week is to look for those places where you can be sent. Look for those places where you can allow God to work through you to change somebody else's life. That's our goal, is to affect others here on earth. As we're singing this song here in just a minute, I want to offer the invitation, if there's any way that we can help. If there's anything that we as a church can do, or if there's a need to be baptized and become a Christian, we would love to take care of that today. If there's any way we can help, just come as we stand and sing this last song.